What's coming off around here?
If you guys playing railroad anymore today, it's the last like the new cut.
This is an HO scale model of an EMD SW1500 switcher. It came to me around 1995. It was an associate of mine while working at Iden Monitor in Fort Washington. My associate had taken another job, and he and his wife were moving down to Florida for that. And he had an HO scale layout in one room in his home, which he was putting up for sale. So I offered to help out by tearing down this layout for him. And the deal was that I would do the labor in exchange for the railroad, the scale model railroad. I saw it as an inexpensive foray into HO scale model railroading. So we negotiated, and it turned out that I did get the vast majority of it, although there was a number of fairly expensive items he withheld, of course, and it made sense. But as I completed the task, I boxed everything up and put it away, and this locomotive has been in storage ever since. So it's from 1995 on till today, where I just finally took it out. And this locomotive, it doesn't work. And so I'll have to, if I want to use it, I'm going to have to repair it. It's not really prototypical. It shows Pennsylvania on it, but my research indicates that Pennsylvania Railroad never operated an SW1500 on their railroad. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. EMD produced these locomotives. They started producing them in 1966 and continued through 1974. Why that's relevant at all to me is that my time period for the railroad I plan to build is going to be for the mid to late 70s. So this would fit right in. I don't know that it'll remain a Pennsy locomotive, but because I propose to have an interchange track with the Pennsylvania Railroad, that just might be. But as I said, this one doesn't work. I just demonstrate for you this bad functioning locomotive. You can see that I've got DC supply. It's a DC locomotive, obviously, from that time period. And I'll put the power to it, and you can watch the power come up on there. And you'll notice that this locomotive is not moving. So there's something wrong with it. And I'm going to have to try to correct that. So stay with me. I'm going to have to tear this locomotive down completely, repair whatever's broken, clean it, lubricate it, reassemble it, and hopefully it'll work. If not, it'll be totally broken, and it might become a static model on my railroad. The first step in disassembling this locomotive is going to be removing the shell. That is something I've actually already figured out. There's if you look carefully here, there's some tabs on the side. So this tab is poking through. I need to simply lift the shell up over the tab like this. And you can see it's already started coming off, and the same thing over here. And there goes the shell. Lift it off carefully. Oh, come on. There we go, part of it. Hey, all right. So there's the shell, and it is now removed. the next step is to disassemble all of this. So now that the shell is off, the next thing that I think I'll take apart is I'll take the headlight off. Now the headlight, interestingly, has the circuit for the headlight is got to do with this metal strip here to this curved piece and then back through here to the frame. So what's holding that headlight in right now, it appears to be, it's slid down between some the little metal tabs that are clamped onto the inserted piece, and there's a tab, a little elevated piece right in the center, and I think that's there once this is inserted to keep it from coming back out again easily. So I'm going to pry at this to try to get some relief. Okay, that's done it. There's a slight amount of relief now. I think I can slip it out from there. So let's see. Put my hand out of the way so you can watch. Pull. Oh, there it is. Okay, so our first disassembled piece is the headlight, and we'll just put it right here. With the headlight removed, I was looking at this frame and the basic condition of the electronic parts, and this part right here is pretty badly rusted, but I don't think that's why it's not working. But I also was looking at the bottom of the locomotive, and I see that there's like yellow, looks like yellow molded in plastic of some sort, which comes through, let's see if you can see this, but it comes through, you can see the yellow there, under the motor. So I can't see any way to, I'm not seeing an easy way to get this apart. There are tabs right here on both of these trucks, and I believe that's how you remove the trucks, but I can't remove the trucks because of the motor. The motor's in the way. It prevents me from getting this shaft out. So my plan is to remove the motor next, but this is kind of experimental. I'm going to just try to see if it just raises out off the frame. I think it was just pushed in, so it might be a friction fit, so I'll just try that right now. Well, I'm making progress on this side, but the other side doesn't seem to want to budge. I'll try it. Look. Oh, look at that. Oh dear. We do have some broken parts. This just broke. So I'll get that out. Look at that. Look at that. That's a mess. Let's see if I can get the rest of it out. Oh, okay. So in doing that, this overarching piece popped up, which makes sense. I probably should have tried to take that out first. And now the motor, let's see if I can remove this. Yes. All right. So the motor is out. I still have a piece of this, I guess this must be motor mounts. Let's see if I can pry it out of there. I don't know that I can repair it. Oh no, it's rotted. I mean, this is not, oh geez. That's a mess. Let me see if I can do this. Well, it'll just have to get dug out of there. It's in the way. So look at that. It just crumbles. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't made to be removed. My bad. Anyway, I'll clean that out, and we'll move on to the next step, which will be getting these trucks off. So with the motor removed, the only thing I can do now is, well, take these trucks off the frame so I can get a closer look at that. So I'm going to try to use the tabs I mentioned earlier to do that. I'm going to squeeze them together and see if I can't get it to move out through. All right, well, I'm going to have to figure out a different way of doing this so that get that one to go. There it is. So there's one, and this would be the forward truck. Right there, it's forward. And do the same on the other side. Sorry. That is hard. Oh, there it goes. Okay. All right. There it is. Just got to figure out the correct pressure to apply. So that's the rear truck. Well, the trucks are out. And it looks like if it's not functioning, it's got probably a lot to do with the fact that these wheels are so grody. And oh, look at this. Okay, so you can also access the gears. I was wondering about that. So this shaft here is driving these gears down. And let me see if I can just open that up and take a look in there. Oh, I see. Okay, looking at it closely, I can see that there's a detent or some kind of snap-on fit where the sides are literally captured, but it doesn't look like there's anything else on either on the back or center. So I guess if I just press on the side, it should come off. Well, there's that. And if I do the same thing over here, just to clear those tabs. So yeah, that's how that worked. Well, you can see the gearing on this thing, and the gears look to be in good shape. I don't see that they're jammed, but yeah, you can't turn it easily. It's because it's a reduction. So I'd have to turn it up here, and I don't have that shaft to do it with. So anyway, there's the gearing. I could probably lubricate that anyway and see if I can't get better performance from it. But these trucks are filthy. They'll have to get cleaned. I'll take this one off as well. Pop that up. Oh, that one was pretty friendly. Same here. There we go. And again, it exposes the gears, and we can see that these gears are in pretty good shape. Probably doesn't have a lot of runtime on it. Well, I pressed ahead and I disassembled one of these trucks, and these parts right here are the individual pieces. Don't see any point in disassembling this gearbox anymore. I know the gears could come off, but there's no point in that. So I'm looking for something that's broken or marginal that I can at least clean up. So how I did that, I want to demonstrate on the remaining one. I'll take this one apart and I'll film that. It was extremely difficult though. These side pieces of the trucks do not release easily. It took quite a lot of force to get it off. So hopefully this one will come apart easier. Well, I thought I would be able to do this on camera, but it was just impossible. And this side frame was so stuck that when I applied excessive force, I broke a piece off the plastic here. So I'll attempt to glue that back together and probably have more or less mixed results with that. It depends on the kind of plastic it is. But it really doesn't matter if I take the side frame off, because I'll probably keep that side frame. But so far in disassembling these trucks, I really haven't found anything too terribly wrong with them. Some of the pieces may have been broken in the disassembly that I just don't understand. This piece here appears to me to be riveted in on that side frame, and on the corresponding side frame, the piece is not riveted. So in order to do that, it'll have to get glued on. Since the rivet is broken. I guess if there had been a rivet in it, then it popped out. So we can just epoxy that. The next thing I want to look at in the disassembly process is the motor itself. And it still has this, what might have been a motor mount. It appears that it fits into the side of the motor, and then that part protrudes down, and that end of the mount, let's take a look at that a moment. It's actually bulged. I don't know if you can see that, but there's actually like I don't know if it's going to focus on that or not, but there's a slight bulge, and I suspect what they did was they heated the end of it after it was inserted to secure it into the frame. So I'm really going to need an alternative method to secure the motor back into the frame when I reassemble this. So set that over here, and let's take a look at the motor. Well, the brushes, I see the brushes are pressing. There's a brush. We'll take a look at that. Here we go. There's a brush on either side of the armature. There's a brush here and a brush down here. And I suspect if I take this metal piece off the top and bottom, that I'm gonna allow those brushes to fall out. They may well be the dirt or oxidation that's on this armature, and the brushes themselves may well be the problem with the running of this locomotive. So I'm going to take this apart and see what I can do with those brushes to clean them up, and also clean up that armature. Okay, so to take the metal piece off of the either side is an actual kind of clip assembly that I believe if I just pry that over, it works fine to come off that way. And it also reveals there's a spring, a tiny spring that's, I'll move it back over here. There's a little tiny spring that was pushing on the contact. Here's the contact. There it is, right there. So there's one half, and these two are different. This one's just flat, whereas this one has some bends in it, and I suspect that was for making contact to the frame. I think this one was largely just for retaining. So let me take the other one off. I'm trying to think right now that the bottom one is where the motor mounts were positioned into the motor and stuck into the frame. So the bottom one is the one with these little tabs downward that probably gives it more contact with the frame. So we'll take this one off. And another little tiny spring fell out. And another contact. Okay, so those have been disassembled. I'm looking at the motor now to see if there's further disassembly. I know that this motor is supposed to have these. They should be fixed onto the shaft so that they aid in it maintaining a smooth motion when it's working. And for some reason, this flywheel's broken free. So yeah, I'm going to have to try to figure out some means to make that flywheel part of the shaft. So when the shaft turns, the flywheel turns. So I examined this motor, and one of the things that I quickly discovered about this is that these couplers simply pull off. And so having pulled it off, here it is. You know, if I get in the camera here. So having pulled it off, it's possible to remove the, I took the other one off. For the motor, I just simply pried this piece off. This piece is, it was attached, this piece here was attached to the end of the motor shaft, and this flywheel was just in the shaft. So this piece was holding the flywheel on. But there's something more going on, because this flywheel, the flywheel on this side does not turn easily, whereas this flywheel does. So I need to fix that so that this flywheel doesn't spin around. It appears that it may have just been loose. The thing I wanted to also show is that, in fact, this motor, the whole thing comes apart. This entire motor will disassemble right down to the windings. And again, I don't want to do that, but I will test the windings to make sure that they're not bad. I have been thinking about it, why this motor didn't work, and I'm beginning to become kind of confident that these pieces that came off, there's a small rivet that I believe was holding these on there. It won't press on, so the rivet was holding it. And I could show that on this one, that you see here's a rivet, and that the rivet right here is holding this piece on. So without the rivet, or however it happened that it broke, this is not in contact with the side frame. And also notice that the side frame, you're looking at the side frame has these cups that capture the wheels. The steel wheels go into these cups. I shut them off. The steel wheels go into these cups like that. So the wheel on either side will pick up the individual track current. And evidently that centerpiece is, it feels like metal, but It must be non-conductive, because otherwise there'd be a dead short across the track. So this assembly, when it's put together, is sending the track voltages, currents, to the side frame, and then from the side frame, it's being transmitted through the rivet to this piece right here. So that's how at least on that side, that's how that one is getting the power from the rail to the motor through all of these other connections. I think I'll show that when I get an opportunity. I'll throw together a little bit of a diagram showing just exactly how the electronics function on this motor. But this is what I believe is the culprit right here, is why this motor didn't turn. That was broken, and I blamed myself for breaking it, but I suspect that it was broken. And there's actually two pieces. This piece also goes right like that, and it could be either one of these were broken. And so if there was no current coming from one side of the track, obviously the motor won't work. So I'm fairly confident, having said all that, that the motor's windings are just fine. I don't think there's a problem with the windings. However, I'll check that. But the first thing I'm going to do, the next step, and I think it'll be in the next video, this has been a process of a teardown. And in this next video, it'll be episode 3. I'm going to put everything back together again with all of the repairs and cleaning and final test of the functions. So we'll find out at the end of episode 3 if I was able to get this locomotive to work again. And I hope I could show you a working SW7 locomotive at Athearn. They threw me off at the start of this video by but it was originally sold as an SW1500 by Athearn, but to their credit, they did eventually correct that, and so the world found out, in fact, these are SW7s. So see you in the next video. Thank you for viewing. If you would, please like and subscribe. Thank you.